So why do we care about blockchain? Blockchain allows for trustless transaction between multiple parties. So the best part of blockchain is you don't have any middleman. There is no third party involved. Everyone is like, you can directly reach out to the third party. I'm sorry, the person you're sending to money from. For example, if you take the music industry, you're a huge musician who likes to create music, but then you have the middleman who's like the production manager, and they take 50% of your income for doing almost nothing. How about directly reaching out to the fans, sending your music to the fans, and you get the whole pay, which even the people are benefited and even the musician is benefited. So that's one of the use cases. So, and also it can be applied in the broad range of industries, like I mentioned: finance, healthcare, government, and multiple other things. Now let's go back to how actually so blockchain is nothing but distributed ledger plus consensus. Now if you remember, I told you consensus is nothing but an agreement between the miners. Okay. So a list of transactions between accounts, a ledger, are stored in distributed nodes. New transactions are periodically added into a block. Nodes use an agreed upon protocol to reach consensus on when a block is appended to the chain of the previous blocks. So anytime a new block is added, it's validated by the transaction, or it's validated by the miners, and they add that block to the blockchain. So that's basically it. So this is how a flow diagram is. Someone requests for a transaction, the transaction is broadcasted to the P2P network, and then the validators or the miners, they validate, saying, okay, this looks like a valid transaction and it can be moved. And then once verified, the transaction becomes part of the new block, and the new block is then added to the block, and you get the transaction. Let me show you all a demo. Now, if you remember, I told you there is this private key and hash function and etc. Now I'll show you what exactly is hash function. It's very important to understand how the blockchain thing actually works. So a hash function is any function that can be used to map data of arbitrary size onto data of fixed size. What does that mean? Now you have data of anything. Okay, it can be a name, it can be the whole of the Wikipedia. If you pass it on to this hash function, it will give you an output of fixed length. Now, for example, you say hello, that will be a hash. Okay, that will be converted into a hash. And the date, it will have a hash of fixed value. For example, the data, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, will have the hash which will be different from the first hash, even including numbers. So SHA was created by the National Security Agency. So SHA is nothing but secure hash algorithm, and Bitcoin uses this particular hash functionality. And also the reverse is not possible. For example, you have a movie and you pass it on to this hash function, it's converted into a hash function, hash like this, and you can't get the movie back from that particular hash. If you remember my first example, the IPFS, this is how it stores data. The data is converted into a hash, and that hash is put on the blockchain, which is a very small thing that can be stored on the blockchain, and it can point towards the data location and you can extract it. So for example, this is how a hash SHA-256 hash works. I'm putting in my name, I get a hash. If you notice, my hash is, in the end, it has DEA. Okay, that's the hash of my name. This is actually my name's hash. Now, if I make any kind of changes, any sort of changes, even if I put a full stop, the hash completely changes. Okay, now imagine a hacker or an attacker tries to come make changes in the blockchain, is actually changing something completely different. It's not going to look like anything like before. Now this is a block. Okay, now the block, it will contain what is called as a nonce, and it will contain the hash. Now imagine what exactly the miners are doing. People will be trying to figure out, many of them came to me and asked, what exactly are the miners job, what exactly are they trying to solve. You mentioned that they solve some sort of mathematical puzzle, try and solve that puzzle, after which the transaction is added and they get rewarded for it. So this is something that's actually they do. They The miners are trying to find a unique value. Okay, so once they find that unique value, they can add that block to the blockchain. That is what is the mathematical puzzle that they're trying to solve as miners. Now imagine this is a block. The miner blocked it, he mined it, and it becomes a valid blockchain. Okay, it has a specific nonce. Now this particular hash will have a nonce of this number. I'll tell you what nonce is a bit later. It has 72608. Just imagine, for now it's just a unique number for every block. Now we have one block, one has this particular nonce. Okay, let's take a blockchain. Now imagine this is a blockchain. Okay, you have block one. The transaction is stored in this particular block. Then once another block is added, the data of that block is added to this block, and you get a chain of blocks. Now, as a person or a attacker or a hacker, you are trying to make some changes in this particular third block. You're trying to say, okay, instead of sending $100, 100 rupees, I'm going to send 10,000 rupees to James, and I want to make some changes in this particular block. So what he does is he tries to do some changes. The turns red, and every other block that comes after it, because I like I told you, if you make any sort of changes in this block, the hash completely changes. If you notice, it keeps changing the hash, and every other block that comes after it will also become red. Okay, it changes, it becomes different, it has completely changed, and it doesn't look like a valid block. A block is nothing but, just imagine, it's just a data. It contains the data of all the transaction, the incoming and the outgoing, the address of the person you're sending the money to and from. Now what the attacker needs to do is, if he makes these changes, he has to mine this block, make it as a valid block. Then he has to go to this, he has to make this also a valid block, and he has to change this. And the process is very, it's almost impossible. So you either need to take control of 51% of the nodes, after which you can make it as a valid block. And it's almost like very difficult to make changes in the blockchain. And imagine that's just one system. Just imagine this is just one node, and if it is distributed, okay, you what you do is you try making some changes in this particular block, everything else comes invalid. And you try making changes, you try mining it, what happens, you'll get a valid block, you see 513, but here it will be a different hash. So what the network will do is, it will automatically follow the nodes that has the highest number of validators, or blocks to it. So this will become the valid block, and this particular node will be kicked out of the network. So that's why you see it's almost impossible to hack the blockchain. Okay, guys. So we just got a good introduction about how the blockchain actually works. We'll be looking at how what is Merkle tree and etc. Before that, what I want to do is let's create a wallet for ourselves, uh, so that you can have a session to understand how we actually work. Before you're welcome to ask any questions so far if you have any. Okay, let me look at this. You see, okay, blockchain security and transparent. Okay, what is cryptocurrencies? Now cryptocurrencies, gave you guys a clue. It is a Bitcoin. Just imagine it's a digital currency that can be stored on the blockchain, which I'm going to show you now. We'll be creating a wallet, and we'll be try and send each other cryptocurrencies, but we'll not be actually sending real money. These are fake tokens that can be exchanged. So there are websites which will provide you fake ether, where you can use it for testing purpose, and will be required to do all that. So let's look at Ledger. So Ledger is just like I told you. Imagine it's an Excel sheet which contains transactions of incoming and outgoing, just like a book, which has data. Okay, cryptocurrency is a digital currency which is not government issued. So you might have heard that it's not issued by the government. You're very true. It is it is just you know a currency that was created in the internet. Okay, Satoshi Nakamoto. Imagine he just created the white paper. I'll show you how the Bitcoin white paper looks like. So what he did is Satoshi, and one more very interesting thing is no one knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. It's been 15 years since Bitcoin was created. No one is able to figure out who Satoshi Nakamoto is, the original creator of Bitcoin and the blockchain. So blockchain itself is actually pretty old, the concept and technique, but he combined everything together and made it actually as a working system. And for you guys to look at Bitcoin price is 7.5 lakhs at the current price, and there are multiple people actually trading cryptocurrencies. uh, I'll read out this first abstract thing, which is very interesting. This is actually the original white paper that was published by Satoshi Nakamoto. So he says a pure peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institute. Digital signature provide part of the solution, but the main benefits of are lost if the trusted third party is still required to prevent double spending. So you guys know what double spending is. We propose a solution to double spending problem using peer-to-peer network, the network timestamp transaction by hashing them into an ongoing chain of hash-based proof of work, forming a record that cannot be changed without redoing the proof of work. The longest chain only serves as a proof of sequence event witness, but proof that it came from the largest pool of CPU. So messages are broadcasted to the best effort basis, and nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the longest proof of work. So he just came, he published this paper, and no one looked at it. No, it almost no one understood what it was. Some of them, there are a few set of people who took note of this, and they realized how potentially useful this particular piece of technology is, and they realized this is going to change the world completely. And that's when the boom happened, and everyone got into the system. They started buying cryptocurrencies, which is initially just one use case of blockchain, just transferring money. And yeah, so currently the government is, some of the governments have made it legalized. Some of the government is actually trying to figure out what use cases then this blockchain is all about, and some of them are trying to ban the cryptocurrencies completely. And yeah, because they don't have control over digital currencies, Bitcoin and etc. But everyone have understood the underlying technology is something that can be used in multiple industries, and which is why you're suddenly seeing this boom. Yeah. And is it a software? How can I run? Yeah, it is definitely a software. It's called it's a Bitcoin software. All you need to do is download it, but you're actually not downloading a software. It is a part of the software, but you're downloading the whole of the ledger. You're downloading the ledger from block one. So the block number one is called as the Genesis block, which is let me show you. So this block is called as the first block, or the Genesis block. And you'll have to download the whole blockchain. And currently, if you want to download the blockchain, it's almost like 250 GB. So you need to have a good system with this thing. And even if you do, the only thing you can do is you can look at transaction and see everything else. You can test it out, but you can't do anything else, because you need huge mining power, or you need computational power to be able to become a validator or a miner, if you're interested in mining bitcoins. Because the highest number of bitcoins that is going to be minted is 21 million, and you won't have anything after that. It's almost like 18 million that has been mined by the miners. And if you want to do it in your system, it's going to be almost impossible to mine bitcoin, because it needs a lot of computational power and energy. But yeah, you can also try mining Ethereum, which is also a software that you can download, and multiple other cryptocurrencies if you're interested in trading and buying cryptocurrencies. Also, how can you use it in daily life? We'll definitely look at all the use cases of blockchain. That that will give you a better